Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Make plans to vote on November 4th. I don't want any excuses. Vote. Be a proud American citizen and vote on November 4th. There you go. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Morning, morning, morning. Oh, good morning. Good morning on a Monday, and this is going to be an extremely busy week with all of our political ads and all of our commentaries, so bear with us. And we are very happy to be on Zeb at the Ranch, sponsored by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call 734-6969. And right now, without further ado, running along, good morning, Gina.
Good morning, sunshine, and how are we on this fine Monday?
You and I have already compared notes, and it is going to be a very busy day.
It is going to be a very busy day, but you know what? Welcome to Monday.
There you go. Do we have a pledger?
We have Mr. Al Butler on for the pledge and Michael Rogers on for the weather.
Very well done. Al, the pledge, please, quickly. Go ahead.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Al, thank you. As always, an excellent job. Appreciate it, my friend.
I'm glad to hear you're happy and everybody's happy except Green Bay. Boy, did they get whomped by that voodoo woman last night.
Goodbye, Al. See you later.
Bye.
All right. Hey, it's time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. My goodness, at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Oh, they've got everything over there, all the repurposed furniture. Great ideas for redecorating your house for the holidays, including all the decorations for Halloween and for Christmas. My goodness. And don't forget, too, they'll meet or beat any price on flooring. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Call them at 678-6945. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Because he had to do a tape, and so I was trying to air it on playback, but for some reason it did not load.
So What should we do?
Do a commercial while
I can do that. I'll just go ahead and tell you about our friends, and then we'll get back to Cheney Flooring. I'll tell you about our friends at Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Kevin and Cindy, the whole crew. Restoration of items that some people might say are gone. No good. Throw them away. No, take them into Kevin and let him take a look at them. I'll tell you what, if they can be restored and cleaned up, he can do it. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Really, really good folks. They can clean anything at Darrow's Cleaners in Burley. Also, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at SafeLink Internet. Idaho's #1 choice for wireless high-speed internet. And we've been on their programs for over, 5, 6, 7 years now? My goodness sakes, they are the best. That's it, plain and simple. Fastest internet speeds, period. SafeLink Internet Services, 677-8000. 677-8000. Let's check in with Gina. Do we have our forecast?
Let's try this.
All righty, here's Michael Rogers weather.
and it's not wanting to go.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. What do you think the weather's going to be today, Gina?
Well, actually, weather is going to be a little bit like this for today. We are looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies. It is going to be a lot colder than what it has been, only a high of 48. Tonight, low of 28. It is going to be a little bit breezy as well today, right around 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and 55 with an overnight low near 34. Wednesday, warming up to about 61. Thursday, going to see a high near 70, but as we move closer towards the weekend, it looks like we may get more clouds in the forecast. The winds are going to be picking up and maybe a few rain showers.
It's Monday.
It is Monday. Yay.
Thank you very much, Gina. Weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Look for the blue door at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Hey, I want to tell you, there is going to be a ripping good sale going on this week, Wednesday. Yep. October 29th, U.S. Auction is managing the Tugal Ranches estate auction up at the ranch, and that's located 4425 East, 2900 North of Murtaugh. Ask anybody, they'll tell you how to get there. Auction time 11 a.m., lunch by Montana Steakhouse, tractors, construction equipment, trucks, semis, pickups, trailers, hay and grain equipment, ripping good sale. Carl Van Tassel, Keith Couch, U.S. Auction. This Wednesday, October 29th, Tugal Ranches estate auction over here by Murtaugh. Do not miss it. Going to be a good one. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yesterday, and you know me, I'm going to be really blunt about things, and I really am offended by some of the things that have been done politically for this election. The Times News yesterday came out, and they have every right to advocate or highlight a person of their choice for certain offices, and they have come out and said that A.J. Belukoff is their choice for governor. And I got to reading some of this, and I just want to throw some things up for you to consider. They said that the Boise Democrat is best suited to run a state in recovery. Now, think about those words for just a few minutes, and I'm not trying to sound naive. I'm not trying to sound like I don't understand what's going on, because I do. But a state in recovery. Recovery from what? A total fiasco by the Democrat Barack Hussein Obama? By the Senate-led Democrats that caused havoc all across the United States, and now we want to consider possibly putting in a Democratic governor to add to the mess? Think about that. Our state has a balanced budget. That's in our Constitution. And there's certain laws and bylaws and things that we have to abide by. But a state in recovery caused by Democrats. Think about that. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Go, Butch.
Okay, go ahead, caller.
Yeah. I had a door hanger on my door the other day at home, and it says, vote no for Judge Mick Hodges to be better for Caddy County or something like that. I have never heard of this gentleman before. Can you enlighten me a little bit?
No, I won't. What was the name again?
Mick Hodges.
I know Mick, and I think he's a good, fair judge. I think he's a good, fair person. I've known him for off and on 40 years. And I'm not going to get into any dissertation as to why you should vote for him over anybody else, because I don't understand all of his ideology. I just know him as a person, and I'll let it go at that. How's that?
Okay, because how could he be a judge and never even heard of him? I mean, I'm not that far out in the dark.
Well, Keith, the thing is, call and find out. Call the courthouse and find out. Call and find out personality. No, I'm serious. Call and find out personality profiles. The thing I don't want people to do is vote uninformed. Just go sticking a check next to somebody's name at the election box or cubicle is absolutely insane. That's why we have a lot of the problems that we have. I say be alert, be aware, be educated, understand what's going on with these people before you cast a vote. You're doing the right thing by questioning it.
Yeah, but your voice goes a long ways with me, and I thought, maybe you knew him personally.
I do.
Or something like that, and that's the reason why I called in.
I do, and
wonder about it.
As far as, and please take this for what it is worth, as far as his political stance, his ideology, his being up on the bench as a judge, no. I don't know that much about Mick. I know him as a person, and he's always been a straight shooter with me, and that's about all I can tell you this morning as far as being honest.
Well, thanks a lot for the information.
Hey, you are welcome, and I hope I'll see you on our lunch bunch this Thursday at Denny's. It's our Halloween party. Wear a mask or a costume, and you might win a special prize.
Well, I might scare people the way I am.
Okay. God bless you, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Don't forget, Senator Dean Cameron wants to express his appreciation of the citizens of Minidoka and Cassia County. Very grateful for your support and honored to have the opportunity to serve you. He cares deeply about Idaho and our community, and he's worked extremely hard to represent and defend you. He, of course, is the Senate Chairman of the Budget Committee and the senior member on the Resources Committee, and he's fought to protect Idaho water, to improve our children's education, and keep government out of your health care. He asks for your continued support and encourages you to vote on November 4th. Senator Dean Cameron, and he wants your vote. Don't forget. Paid for by the re-elect Dean Cameron, District 27. Also, I've got a whole bunch of political ads here. Pardon me for the hesitation. I had to look down and see where I'm headed here. Also, caller, I'll be there in a minute. We've got to double up on a lot of our commercials to get everything in this morning and this week. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call 678-0459. Don't forget, they have all the things to keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer, including servicing your furnace. Make sure it's all ready to go for the cold, and check out all the air filters too. The best right there are available at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb. It's no surprise that the Times News would endorse the liberal Democrat for governor. I mean, there are a couple socialist editorial board there, and so that's no surprise. But one of the things they keep pointing out is that we need to expand Medicaid, and this is going to save the state a lot of money. Now, first of all, people don't realize that, have to think of where that money's coming from.
That's right.
Do federal taxes.
That's right.
And so there's no free money out there. So, folks, this is a misnomer. Number two, the federal government will only pick up the tab on that for a limited amount of time, and then we're going to be stuck with the bill. Yeah,
and Adrian, here's something else. Why is it that people perceive a politician's words and his motives as, well, let's just throw money at the problem and that's going to be the cure-all? It doesn't necessarily work that way.
Well, and like I say, I have an ER nurse that lives right next door, and, you see these people coming in on Medicaid right now, and they come in for a hangnail or, and just stuff that just running up the tab, and us taxpayers are already paying for this stuff, and it's just going to get worse if we expand Medicaid, and so that's just one of the reasons. But, you get a liberal Democrat in there, and they're going to throw more money at it, like you're just saying, and think the problem's going to go away.
Amen.
Look what's happening, nationwide. We've thrown money at every one of these problems. You and I both remember when they passed, the LBJ passed the Great Society program that was going to end all welfare.
Yep.
That was just to get the camel's nose in the tent.
Yep.
And this is exactly what will happen on the state basis.
I agree with you. Adrian, as you know, I got a gazillion commercials. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you're spot on, as usual. Thank you very much. Have a good day, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I looked at this editorial yesterday in the paper, and I read it and read it and read it and read it, and they said wages stagnated and fell. Education was slashed. Now, if I were a legislator, I would be highly offended by that statement. Education was slashed? I take difference with that statement in the Times News. I don't think there's been a slashing of educational funds. Infrastructure eroded. You only have money to take care of certain things when you're in economic times that are very, very tough, not just here in the state of Idaho, but across the board, thanks to the ideology of this Democratic administration. Let's call it like it is. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, Scott Gano and his entire crew. And by the way, if you need trees pruned properly, you got to be careful when you say that fast 5 times. When you need your trees pruned properly, fruit trees, ornamental trees, shade trees, whatever, and stumps taken out, ground out, whatever, they can do the job. And if you haven't put your name in to have your sprinklers blown out before they freeze, you better hurry up and get it done. Call 438-2485. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, absolutely serving you. Really, really good folks. Hey, by the way, there's the great Golden Pumpkin giveaway going on this week over at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. And stop over and check it out. It's as easy as it sounds. You might win a $25 gift card each day. I'm not kidding you. All you have to do is go over there, keep your eyes open and your senses sharp for the first golden pumpkin, and there's going to be a lot of golden pumpkins over there worth those $25 gift cards each day. So check it out this week at Valleywide Home and Ranch, along with all your winter clothing and, of course, all your propane and your propane heaters. Everything you need is at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop over and see those really, really good folks today at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Okay? Also, real quick, I want to remind you about Denny's Restaurant. My goodness, we're going to be over there on this Thursday for Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and I want to stress the fact again that we're going to have a Halloween party. Yeah, and it's going to be this Thursday at 11:30, Lunch Bunch at Denny's, and extra prizes to those that wear a Halloween mask or a costume. Yes, we're going to choose the best ones, and they're going to get some really, really nice prizes. Best mask and the best costume, and that's all going to be celebrating Halloween this Thursday at Denny's Restaurant at 11:30. And don't forget, you can stop into Denny's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The menu is fantastic. The service is great at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. You be sure and stop in and see them today. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Illegal aliens voting in our election. And I'm not going to change the words. No, that's what they are. If they're here illegally and they're not citizens, they are illegal aliens. Voting in our elections to the tune of hundreds of thousands. I'm not making this up. How are they getting this done? How are they being registered? Who is registering these people? Whomever it is, should be thrown in jail. And they are also wanting to keep issuing driver's license to illegal aliens. This is insane. And these people are voting Democrat. These people are voting for the hand that will feed them and give them. But why are we allowing, across the board, hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens to come into this country, and they are basically canceling out you as a citizen, me as a citizen of this country, canceling out our votes? You need to ask yourself about this illegality and who's promoting it. Oh, gee, the Democrats are doing this. I'm really against the Democrats in this election. I think if you give one a toehold in any category, you're basically voting for the demise of this country and the demise of our political system. I honestly feel that way. I've looked at their platform, read their platform, listened to their platform. It's absolute lunacy. Absolute. Let me just tell you that. Did you hear what Hillary Clinton said this past weekend? Hillary Clinton was showing without a doubt how dense she can be and possibly might become the next president of the United States. She came out and made a quote that said, businesses do not create jobs. She's a pro-government lead the charge, pro-government do-all, catch-all, and she made an asinine statement like, businesses do not create jobs. Now, I ask you, a very intelligent audience, who the heck does if business doesn't? For heaven's sakes. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget Snyder's Surplus. My goodness sakes, they've got everything over there. They've got new items coming in every day. Furniture, couches, desks, office chairs, Halloween decorations and costumes, and, of course, bunk beds, combat boots. You name whatever you're looking for, and it's going to be over there at Snyder's Surplus. And they're located at 112 South, 200 west of Rupert. Stop over and see them today. Great, great folks at Snyder's Surplus. Caller, quickly, you're on the air.
Okay, I want to talk about two things. Judge Hodges, I have had personal experience with him, and he's been in our area for a long time.
Yes.
And I think he works overtime to do the very best for the person that he's judging. Now, he has to hear all of the facts before he can. But I think his hope for is rehabilitation for almost everybody that comes in front of him. And so I think that's great.
I have not seen him, or I've talked to him on the phone, but I have not seen him for a long, long time. And yes, I have known the gentleman for, I'm showing a lot of age here, but nigh on to 40 years. And his politics and what he's doing now and everything, we haven't had a chance to sit down and renew and revive old times. But everything I've known about him, he's a straight shooter.
Right. And I haven't been in the courtroom when he's doing things, but just from personal experience with him, where I've met him. The other thing is, there is no way you can stop anybody from registering to vote, and that is a pathetic thing because I'm the chief judge in my precinct. And then, as you take this information and you know good and well that they're not legal, you are hoping like everything that when that information leaves our hands, that somebody is acting upon it.
Chris, I need to stop you right there.
No.
I need to stop you right there. What are they using as a validity to their being a citizen to register to vote? What are they showing you?
A driver's license.
Oh, gee, you don't mean to tell me that somebody's giving illegal aliens a driver's license? Gosh.
And you know what? They can bring in a birth certificate. They can bring those other things too to show that they're legal. But no, it's strictly a driver's license. And I, as a chief judge in my precinct, have been pretty dang sure that they're not legal, but there's not a thing I can do.
Well, I wished I had more time to sit and visit with you, but you know that you bring up something. I want you to call back, and we're going to talk about this in its entirety more on another morning. But right now, I've got to get my Capital Press on and some of the other ads. But I want you to tell me more about this when you call back.
Okay.
All right, Chris.
Bye-bye.
God bless you. Thank you. That's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting that where hands are tied and people that have no business voting in our election are voting in our election. My dear Gina over at the station, would you please play Lieutenant Governor Brad Little and the HJR2 followed by the Capital Press Ag Minute? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brad Little, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. Idahoans are some of the most innovative and hardest working people in the world. Let's help all Idahoans be job choosers, not job takers, for a better future.
Idaho is one of the best states to do business. With a strong system of education, we can attract more jobs in both traditional industries and new fields like health, energy, manufacturing, and technology.
I'm Brad Little. Let's work together to build strong families, strong career choices, and a strong Idaho.
Hey, Little for Idaho, Tom Johnston, Treasurer.
Vote yes November 4th for HJR2, a constitutional amendment to keep the power of Idaho governance with the people. Vote yes on HJR2 to limit executive power over you and your business. Vote yes on HJR2 to keep your legislators working for your needs, not special interest groups. Vote yes on HJR2 to preserve the voice of we the people for the state of Idaho. Vote yes on HJR2. Paid for by Representative Fred Wood, House Speaker Scott Bedke, and Senator Dean Cameron. Vote yes on HJR2.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAg.com.
Idaho Milk Products, claiming the title of the country's largest supplier of milk proteins, celebrated another milestone on Friday with the official opening of its new technical center in Jerome. Launched 5 years ago by 3 of the largest independently owned and operated dairies in the U.S., IMP supplies milk protein isolate, milk protein concentrate, milk permeate, and cream to global food and nutrition companies. The company operates in a modern 17,000 square foot facility but needed more space. It found an 8,000 square foot building down the road to house its marketing, sales, and customer service division, a large quality assurance lab, and an area for research and product development. With the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Hannah Brous.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at CapitalPress.com.
Once again, don't forget, re-elect Clark Kaufman as your District 25 representative to the legislature. Kaufman has served on the Revenue and Taxation Committee, Transportation and Defense Committee, and the Business Committee. He is honest, hardworking, and capable. Remember to vote on Tuesday, November 4th, and exercise your constitutional right. Vote Kaufman. Paid for by the committee to elect Clark Kaufman for Idaho State Representative for District 25 Seat B, Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. Whew, okay, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to go back and just kind of elaborate a little bit on this deal with Hillary Clinton. Where do these people, like Hillary Clinton and others that are of the upper crust, the upper echelon, the supposed elite, how do they get off being that dumb? And why wasn't somebody in the audience that had any kind of honesty sit there and raise their hand and say, excuse me, Mrs. Clinton, what do you mean when you say something like businesses do not create jobs? You know, it's those kind of frivolous comments. And I can't figure out why you'd say anything that stupid. She is a firm believer in big government. She's a firm believer that, government is the panacea and the cure-all. And I don't know if she honestly believes the government is the job creator. Right now, businesses, and I dare somebody to prove me wrong. I mean, my goodness. How do they come out and say something and have people sit there and go like this? Yay! Why, they should be booing her for a lack of intelligence. Absolutely pathetic. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. And these are the people that are being groomed to lead this country? Oh, please. We had old Eli on the phone with us last week on Thursday, talking about Berry Equipment and Rental, 3 locations to serve you, and I mean serve is the word. They've got all the equipment that you could use, whether it's the big Doosan loaders, those are big dudes, or the Bobcat loaders, or all the Coyote tractors, all the equipment that you need, all the man lifts, everything for fall cleanup, spruce up, whatever, is right there at Berry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Yep, the best. Berry Equipment and Rentals serving you. Caller, you're on the air.
Good morning again.
Yes, sir.
Oh, about the Hillary Clinton famous words.
Yeah.
What difference does it make?
Yeah.
And people can't remember that. Benghazi and that stuff like that. What in the hell is this country coming to?
Al, I want to ask you, did you hear that speech where she stood up and said businesses do not create jobs? And as sharp as you are, and and I say this respectfully, a news junkie, what in the world is she trying to say?
Well, that's just it. She's trying to say anything so she can get elected and don't have to, live up to her rotten deal when she was Secretary of State.
Well, I can't argue with anything you said, but I mean, when you say something so frivolously dumb as businesses do not create jobs, I mean, I heard that the other day after she had made that statement last Friday. And
What's the symbol of the Democratic Party?
A jackass.
Jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get any argument from me.
This voting, I don't see why we're allowed to let people come in here when we're supposed to be able to vote with our IDs. We go anywhere for our IDs, and we got to speak English and all that stuff. Why do they get a chance to vote against what we're wanting to do without there's some repercussions?
It's absolutely insane to me to think that we are allowing people to come into this country that are not citizens. We are giving them licenses to drive vehicles. We are giving them privileges that should be only for our citizens of the United States of America. But to have their votes go to the polls and nullify your vote and mine is insanity.
Right. Well, I got some more information on that thing me and you've been talking about.
All right, sir.
And it's going to blow your socks off.
Oh, I hope not. My feet get awful cold. I will be in touch. Thank you.
Very kitty wampers.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Have a good one.
All right, appreciate it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think at this time I'm going to call upon Gina again. We have some good words for Idaho Senator Jim Risch and State Treasurer Ron Crane. And
Hold on, my computer's deciding to
Idahoan, Senator Jim Risch shares the bootstrap. Like most Idahoans, Senator Jim Risch shares the bootstrap roots that gives our state its independent character and strong values. Born into a working-class family, his dad, Elroy, was a lineman for the telephone company. Helen, his mom, worked in the school cafeteria. They stressed the importance of hard work and perseverance. He wasn't handed an education. He worked his way through college, working in kitchens and harvesting peas in the Palouse. Close to the U of I, where he earned degrees in forestry and law. He has served Idaho as a prosecuting attorney, state senator, lieutenant governor, and U.S. senator. Unimpressed with D.C. politics, Senator Risch fights the status quo and stands firm on the principles and beliefs expressed by the people of Idaho who sent him to Washington to represent them. On November 4th, let's make sure Jim Risch continues to fight for Idaho values in Washington.
I'm Jim Risch, and I approve this message.
Paid Risch for U.S. Senate.
All righty, and now a good word for State Treasurer Ron Crane.
On Election Day, Idaho voters should choose a state treasurer with a 16-year record of success in helping improve the lives of Idahoans. Treasurer Ron Crane has nurtured and grown the tax-deductible Ideal College Savings Program, which thousands of Idaho families now use to continue their children's education. And nearly 25,000 Idaho women have gained saving and investing skills through Ron Crane's popular Smart Women, Smart Money training program. Vote Ron Crane for treasurer. Experienced investing, protecting Idaho's taxpayers.
Paid Crane for Idaho State Treasurer.
Hey, Gina, let's do this. Let's stop and let's ceremoniously just hold hands across the river, and let's go like this. Let's just go, Let's do it again. And we're going to have nuances spread to the computer with happy thoughts.
Yes, because if not, there's a hammer right beside it.
You know, the fact is, folks, you don't know Harley Girl like I know Harley Girl, and that is not just your regular little hammer. That son of a gun could drive rail spikes, and she's ready to go get that computer. And if I were Kim Lee, I'd give her a wide berth.
This room is not big enough for the swing that I got for this baby.
You know, I don't know how you have the patience for that, because even on my own extremely limited little deal here with the computer, you know, for this program, I'll get up in the morning and I'll turn it on, and it'll go through a whole bunch of like
updates and things.
Yeah, updates and everything. And then when I push the button to get the cameras going and everything, it goes gray. And then I'll keep pushing the buttons and pushing the buttons and pushing the buttons, and finally it's almost like they're tempting my temper. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And that has been, everything I've tried to do today because I've got 3 different computers that I work on.
Yeah.
All 3 of them are like, Gina, we ain't going to work for you today. Sorry, honey, but it's Monday.
And my biggest fear on this program is all of a sudden for you to leave your mic on and the real Gina is going to come out on the airwaves.
I will always promise to try and make sure that my mic is off.
I said, when you didn't play a minute ago, I thought, oh, computer, you have no idea what you're doing to yourself. If all of a sudden this old girl decides to get mad, you're a has-been.
I had it all queued up and ready to go, and I went to hit play, and it's like nothing. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I hit play again, and then it plays half, and then it goes back to the beginning and plays another half. And I'm like, you know what? Computer, you're number one.
I am walking a fine line here. I'm going to just be really nice and polite, and it's going to be yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
I'm going to be so happy for next Tuesday.
Oh, I'll tell you. Well, I already told you what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah. Apotheca Red or Apotheca White.
Yes. Adult beverages are going to be passed out freely. Okay. Anyhow.
Do we need to do the weather?
Pardon me?
Do we need to do the weather just to see if the weather's going to work?
Do you think we ought to try it?
I think we ought to try.
Okay, hold on. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do this, and I'll welcome everybody to give us a call. I'll do that first.
Okay.
And then I'll say Sophie's Chatterbox. Don't forget those good folks at 530 East Street on the square in Rupert. And they've got a delicious bakery over there, as you probably know, wedding cakes, cookie bars, homemade bread, and delicious cinnamon rolls. Oh, they're good. And they're open Monday through Friday, 6 to 6, Saturdays and Sundays, 6 to 2. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the square in Rupert. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. We tried to get Michael Rogers, I can't even say his name this morning, on the air earlier, and the computer said, I don't think so. So now, ladies and gentlemen, with all the technological advances that we have, it's time for Michael Rogers Weather, brought to you by Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. And they've got the Carhartt jackets. You can get a monogram, personalized. They've got all the sweatshirts, the caps, T-shirts, everything to promote your business with Nicole and the rest of the crew at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And now, the weather. You know, we're laughing like a couple of drunks on the Bowery, but it isn't funny.
This is not funny. Okay, so here's your weather forecast, because I was smart enough and brought it up.
Okay.
Here's your weather forecast for today. Partly to mostly sunny skies. It is going to be slightly breezy. Winds right around 10 miles an hour. High of 48 for today. Tonight, expect a low of 28. So if you still have some tender veggies out there in your garden, get them out, because they're going to freeze.
Okay.
Tomorrow, partly cloudy and 55 with an overnight low near 34. And by Wednesday, partly cloudy and 61. Currently sitting at 36 degrees here at the KBAR studio.
You know, it's not. What is it not doing? I mean, like you hit the button and the light goes on?
It's just like it's nothing there, and I know that there's something there.
You know, next hour, maybe you would prefer that we say, and here's Gina.
I'm going to get it working, because this is like, it's starting to really get to my ire.
That's not what you would have told me at 7:55 this morning.
Well, I'm trying to be PC about the whole thing.
Okay, listen, I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. I lost my cell phone. What did I do with my phone? I can't find my cell phone.
That would explain why you haven't been saying, because I've been texting you.
Well, I can't see it. I don't know where I put it. Anyway, Deanne, can you help me come find my phone? It's someplace here on my desk. Now, no comments are necessary about that, okay? Anyway, our weather brought to you by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Really nice people. And Michael Rogers is out there someplace in the universe. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I was watching Greta Van Susteren on Friday night. And I came in the house and I turned it on, and she was discussing terrorism in America, right here in our backyard, and literally in our backyard. Now, about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, I had Martin Moyer, a great author, on his book, Twilight in America. And basically the gist of the book, as Tony and many others know, was about all the terrorist camps that are being set up around the United States by jihadists that want to hurt, maim, and kill and destroy you and I and America, right here in our own country. And so, on this report the other night, with Greta Van Susteren, is a complete video report about a terrorist camp up at Bly, Oregon. Yeah, out there in the middle portion of Oregon, out in the desert. A terrorist camp set up to train jihadists to eliminate you and I and destroy the American government. You know, I can't cope with this. I cannot cope with this. This absolute insanity of allowing bad guys to be neighbors right here in the Northwest, knowing that they have no good intent whatsoever for you, us, our children, our grandchildren, whatever, and we allow this to happen. And this report was extremely scary about the lone wolf attackers and what they're doing, what they plan on doing, how bad ISIS is and how fast it's growing. And it's almost like we're living in a world of complete unreality. We can't accept reality. And the PC attitude of this administration, they wouldn't say terrorism, they won't say Muslim jihadists, they won't say Islamic terrorism, they won't even mention those words. They keep changing it, basically, to be so innocuous as workplace violence. I don't understand anymore why we have lost the ability to look at a cow and say that's a cow, to look at a duck and say that's a duck, or to look at Islamic jihad and call it as it is. It blows my mind how you could possibly be that politically correct. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587, please. And I'm going to go back and say this again. Arm yourself. Arm yourself. Know how to shoot the guns that you are arming yourself with. I am not the least bit worried about the NSA or anybody with this administration, these kooks and crackpots of the liberal left that don't want anybody talking about buying a gun, learning how to shoot a gun, and having a concealed weapons permit for that gun, and protecting you and your family and your property. That's what it's coming down to. Arm yourself and do not ever give up those rights. That's what it's happening. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I have just a moment, I also want to remind you about a great big Halloween party that's going to take place the day after Halloween on November 1st, but it's still going to be a Halloween party. And it's going to be at Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West, 200 South of Paul at Four Paws. They have so much fun with your dogs and kitty cats over there. It's going to be from November 1st from 11 to 3. Mark it on your calendars. It's a pet Halloween party and refreshments for both people and pets. I doubt seriously if they'll have the same refreshments for the people as they do the pets, but you never know. Have your pictures taken with your pet. Buy toys and treats and food. Oh, it's going to be great at great sale prices. They have fun over there. The whole crew at Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. Paul, excuse me, slip of the tongue. Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West, 200 South of Paul, and the number 438-4444. Four Paws Bed and Bath Halloween party for you and your pet. There. It's going to be a lot of fun, and the whole crew over there, they get things all decked out for the dogs and the cats and everything. It's a lot of fun. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, There are people that want to take advantage of other people. There are people that they spill something, and it's everybody's fault but their own. Remember about 3-4 years ago, a lady went through a drive-in at McDonald's and got some hot coffee. Gee, can you imagine that? Got some hot coffee? Well, now, isn't that an innovative idea? Hot coffee. Have to try that sometime. And she spilled it on herself and sued because it was hot. I mean, come on. Turned the whole industry upside down to the point where they had to put warning labels on the cups and everything. Oh, ridiculous. It happened again. It happened again. Some foggy-headed female said that a restaurant is liable because the waitress poured her hot coffee in a cup. And this foggy-headed female spilled the coffee in her lap, and she is suing. And she won the lawsuit for $500,000. The judge in this case absolutely has the combined brain resources of a bicycle spoke. How could you possibly, a drink that has been served hot for, well, how long has coffee been around? And it's hot. It's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be very, very warm in the morning so that when you put your lips up to the glass, you go, woo, and you blow on it a little bit, and then you take a little bitty sip. Coffee is hot. And this ditzy woman gets $500,000, first of all, because she was clumsy, and secondarily, because the coffee supposedly burned her. $500,000 for spilling hot coffee. What are your thoughts about these frivolously stupid lawsuits? Give me a call. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, really serving you. Excellent, great big tire sale going on right now. They are busy. Tires like the TerraMax HT, the Wildcat AT2, the Open Country AT2, the Ultra Z900, the list goes on and on and on and on. All the tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, whatever. They've got them. Along with all the custom, they got a lot of great custom wheels on sale. Oh, you don't want to pass these up. Absolutely phenomenal. And the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, all of this and much, much more at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to ask Gina about that. What do you think about these frivolously dumb lawsuits giving people money for spilling hot coffee?
But you just said it. They're frivolous. They have no merit. Basically, it's just somebody saying, oh, well, you know what? Because I can, I'm gonna. Even though it has no merit, because I know that they're going to pay, I'm going to sue.
I just do not understand how anybody of any mental capacity whatsoever could think that coffee shouldn't be served hot.
I like my coffee hot. I don't like it cold.
And there was a time after that lawsuit against McDonald's, remember that, where they served coffee that was almost lukewarm?
Yeah. I do remember that. And I if the coffee is too hot, just blow on it or just let it sit there for a second. Don't just automatically slurp it because you know it's going to be hot.
Amen. Do we have a call?
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Do you think the business that she's suing could sue her for rape?
What?
I said, do you think the business that she is suing could sue her for rape? It's just about as logical as what she did.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know where you're headed on that, but it's so frivolously stupid, and I don't see how anybody could go to a drive-in or go to a restaurant and order coffee, and you spill it on yourself, Jerry, or I spill it on myself, Zeb, and then come back on the restaurant for serving and providing a hot drink that you were so doggone clumsy you couldn't drink it without spilling it, how is it their fault?
It isn't.
Well, evidently it is, to the tune of 500,000. What's that?
It's their fault or her fault for ordering the coffee.
Oh, yeah, but they don't look at it that way. They're going to give her $500,000, Jerry.
Well, like I say, I think the business ought to be able to sue her for rape.
I'll leave it to go at that. Jerry, thanks for your call. God bless you,
bet.
man.
Have
Thanks.
a good day.
Hey, don't forget, great big sale, Tugal Ranch's estate auction coming up this Wednesday, October 29th, right there at the ranch, 4425 East, 2900 North of Murtaugh. U.S. Auction Service. You better believe it. Best in the West, Carl Van Tassel, Keith Couch. This is going to be a ripping good sale this Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Lunch by Montana Steakhouse. Whew, that'll be good. Tractors, construction equipment, all kinds of trailers, and hay and grain equipment. This is going to be a dandy. Tugal Ranch's estate auction this Wednesday, managed by U.S. Auction Company. Don't you miss it. We're going to take a little break and listen to the big boys from ABC and be right back. Don't you go away. Zeb at the Ranch. Oh my, here we go, hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday, a busy Monday. I can't wait to ask for the weather later. Anyway, good morning. Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
I'll tell you what, they really care at Western Waste Services, and they get rid of your garbage. That's the number one job, the number one task, and they do it so efficiently. Always at your disposal, and I'll tell you, I've said for many, many months now, get a dumpster right there in various sizes, clean out your basement, your garage, your shop, whatever, and when it's all filled up, call them and say, come get it, please. 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Hey, by the way, too, I want to remind you that coming up on this Thursday's lunch bunch at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and it's our Halloween party, and we're going to have special prizes for those that wear the best mask and the best costumes. So that's going to be at 11:30 at Denny's. Don't forget, too, our friends at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, number to call, 436-5636, with our dear friend Joel Heward and his entire family serving you, and always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity, and they can travel to rural towns and churches to work with you. When there's the passing of a loved one, they will be there. All you have to do is call. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, serving you. It's Monday, and boy, oh boy, am I anxious to talk to this guy, one of my dear friends, Frosty Woldridge in Golden, Colorado. How are you, Frosty?
Good morning, Zeb. My pleasure, and I look forward to speaking with you and your extraordinary radio listening audience each Monday. It's really an honor to work with you and to work with such an outstanding audience that really is in touch with what's going on in America. So I look forward to these Mondays myself, sir.
You know, I got to tell you something, Frosty, over the years that we've been friends. I mean, we have a bond between us on this immigration issue, and even if we don't agree on all other subjects, we can agree to disagree and get a point out to where we can maybe find some common ground. But you have made me so cognizant of what's going on that is foolhardy and absolutely insane with illegal aliens and a lack of any border security in this country. Over the weekend, I was listening to many, many reports about illegal aliens voting in our elections, to the numbers of hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens that are changing our elections, nullifying your vote and my vote, and I'm sitting there ready to tear my hair out wondering, how can this be?
Well, it has been going on for quite some time. Actually, if you go to www.thesocialcontract.com, there is, his name is David Simka, I think it is. David Simka, I'm not exactly sure, but you can look it up on thesocialcontract.com. He did an intensive study on illegal aliens who are voting in American elections. It's well over 250,000 from all the understandings. The motor like in places like New York, where they get you get your driver's license, then you can just do a motor voter registration. And in fact, they found here in Colorado illegal aliens voting, and of course they don't care about the law. What they want and what they care for is making sure that that we soften any kind of law enforcement on illegal aliens, and so they vote in those who will do that. We actually had we had two Hispanic American citizens giving CDL, commercial driver's license, to 18-wheeler applicants from Mexico here in Denver, Colorado. And it was quite the scam, and it had given hundreds of CDL. Now, for those of you who appreciate, I'm a former, truck driver for United Van Lines. I did over 25 summers of driving. I was a safety officer for United Van Lines here in Denver, Colorado. And I can tell you this, I okayed drivers, or I put the thumbs down on them based on what they showed me. And, of course, every time you hear of a truck, an 18-wheeler, overturning or getting blown over in a windstorm or sliding out or going to sleep and then driving off the highway or in these massive crack-ups, you can bet that driver was unqualified but got qualified because of somebody just slipping in the qualification. And that's what happened here. And so the same thing with the fact that we don't have to have voter ID in all of these states, because it's a discriminatory practice when you have to have an ID just to cash a check or show your credit card or virtually show that you can get into a bar. I get checks. I'm 68 years old. I get checked to go into a bar to go dancing. In fact, Electric Cowboy, every Saturday night they have to check me. I have to check Sandy, my wife. So David Simka in socialcontract.com, thesocialcontract.com will show you how extensive the voting of illegal aliens is in this country and how much it is tipping our elections.
You say discriminatory practice, and honestly, I don't mean to sound naive, Frosty, but you understand where I'm coming from. Discriminatory practice, if you look up the word illegal, it means illicit. It means that it's not right. It's not with the laws. It's etc. And alien means not citizen of this country. Illegal alien is the proper terminology, and their votes, to the tune of, like I said, hundreds of thousands of people that are here illegally, are voting in our elections, and they're nullifying Frosty Woldridge's and my vote. This is insanity.
Well, and get used to it. We are seeing more and more Mexican Americans actually getting into local politics, and they're changing the local politics. The same thing with Muslim Americans who are now eight aides are in the White House right now that are advising Barack Obama as to Muslim wants and needs in this country. That's why you're seeing so much of there's over 2,000 Muslim mosques in this country, where there were only about 15 or 20, just 20 years ago. And so as these different ethnic groups continue to move into the mainstream political process in this country, you're going to see more of it. And as we go along here this morning, I really want you all to go to newswithviews.com, and you'll see part 7 of my series, America and Western Countries Becoming the World's Refugee Camps. And this part 7 is going to really rock your world, because I talk about illiteracy, poverty, and culture. And one of the things about illiteracy that I've learned in my world travels is that illiteracy is the key word that defines a third world country, or as they euphemistically call them, developing countries. And now here in the United States, we're importing so much illiteracy that we are literally having to pay for its food, its water, its housing, Section 8 housing, all of the education that's not going on. And in fact, this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and Zeb, this will just rock you. They did a story on all of these immigrants coming into Colorado, the legal ones.
Yeah.
And they have carried with them 172 different languages.
Oh, brother.
So here in Denver, Colorado, we have 172 different languages in the classrooms, K through 12. And as you know, there's no way we can educate 172 different kinds of languages because we don't have 172 language teachers to teach these kids. And so therefore, they're just being housed and fed on our tax dollars and free breakfasts and lunches. And they're babbling in their 172 different languages, and then our own kids aren't getting educated. So you're seeing the consequences of illiteracy manifest in our own country, and it's going to get uglier as we get millions and millions of Americans who can't read, write, and perform simple math. So you can see this series is very serious because we're adding another 100 million here in the next 30 years, and it's not going to be good for anybody.
All right, now, Frosty, I'm going to ask your indulgence. As you know, we're in the middle of the political run, and we're going to have a quick break for about 60 seconds, and we'll be right back. And I want to talk to you about some of your Colorado state races. We're on the air with Frosty Woldridge. We'll be right back. Gina, if you would, please play the HJR2 spot, and then I'll take it back.
Vote yes November 4th for HJR2, a constitutional amendment to keep the power of Idaho governance with the people. Vote yes on HJR2 to limit executive power over you and your business. Vote yes on HJR2 to keep your legislators working for your needs, not special interest groups. Vote yes on HJR2 to preserve the voice of we the people for the state of Idaho. Vote yes on HJR2. Paid for by Representative Fred Wood, House Speaker Scott Bedke, and Senator Dean Cameron. Vote yes on HJR2.
Representative Fred Wood, running unopposed for Representative District 27, Chairman of the Health and Welfare Committee and on the Resources and Environmental Committee. He listens. He works for the people of District 27, protecting Idaho's water and creating a positive economic effect environment. And always, he would like to thank everybody that's voted for him in the past and encourages you to vote on November 4th. Don't forget, Representative Fred Wood also asking for your yes vote for the constitutional amendment HJR2, paid for by Fred Wood for House Seat District 27. Frosty, I've got to ask you, because I know you've had confrontations with this particular person, but the Senator Udall from your state of Colorado, it looks like maybe he might go down in defeat. How's that race shaping up in your opinion?
Yes, I've had face-to-face confrontations with Mark Udall, and he certainly has proven his incompetence to me from his actions. You know, a guy like him who he can't wait to, he thinks the 1.5 million legal immigrants added to America every year is an okay deal, and then he goes off and tries to save our water and our air and more federal lands and all that goes with his environmental agenda. And I've gotten right in his face, right in the town meetings, and he can't answer me because I'm too logical for him. And as a matter of fact, there's a very good chance that he is now 5 points down in the polls, and Cory Gardner, who's a young, fresh, and smart Republican, is running really excellent advertising, and he does have an outstanding foundation and platform. It's a very good chance that Cory Gardner is going to take Mark Udall's spot. And the thing is, it's the times and the tides that count. And Mark Udall is just an old guy that's been in there for 20 years, hasn't done anything, keeps rubber stamping Barack Obama, and Barack Obama's policies are failing horribly. And Mark Udall is one of the reasons that Congress has a 9% approval rating. And so it is time to get rid of Mark Udall, and I think that Cory Gardner has a good chance of doing that.
I want to shift gears a little bit here in the time remaining. We got about 8 minutes left, Frosty, and as you know, over the last couple of months, we have seen horror stories play out with terrorism around the globe, and primarily in our country and also up in Canada, with the lone wolf-style attacks. And this administration still will not come out and call it terrorism. They will not mention anything about the Muslim Jihad. They won't say anything like that. What are your thoughts about how dangerous our life and times are right now because this government will not confront the issue?
At some point, we will confront the issue, and it's going to be American citizens. There are 35 Muslim Jihad terrorist camps already established in this country. Look it up on the internet. Pam Geller out there in New York has verified these Muslim Jihad terrorist camps. The FBI and Homeland Security are monitoring them. Why they don't go in and just take them out is beyond me, because at some point these guys are going to do more than just the single, the jihadist Muslim there in New York who I think took an axe to one or two police officers.
Yes.
You had another Muslim up there in the Ottawa government who shot one soldier, and then finally this sergeant of arms shot him. These Muslims can't help themselves, and at some point you're going to see like the Fort Dix Six that tried to was going to go after Fort Dix and just kill all the soldiers by bringing guns loaded in their little pizza carrying car and so forth. Or in Fort Hood, this guy shoots up 43, kills 13.
Nadal Hassan,
the major. Muslims can't help themselves. As they get greater numbers, they get bolder and more arrogant, and they're going to be in bigger groups, and that's when you're going to see a reaction from the American people, but not until then. And the press and Brian Williams and certainly David Muir and Scott Pelley can just coat it over in sugar and never say that it was a Muslim that attacked those two police officers in New York, and or right on down the line. And notice even the Fort Hood shooting, it was all workplace violence. Even the beheadings out there in Oklahoma just a month or so ago, again, just workplace violence. Folks, those were Muslims. That's the Islamic way of terrorizing their women, the honor killings, and go right on down the line. So I'm going to call a spade here. And Muslims are quite violent by their very nature, by the very Koran that they live and breathe by, and its main province, the proviso, the main deal with Islam is to convert or kill all non-believers, especially the Jews. That's in the Quran. That's what they work for. That's what they finally will all fess up to, and that's why they all are quite violent, and literally, that's why at some point you're going to see major confrontation in this country against Islam, because there's still enough of us to say, no, we're not going to go that way, and we do not and will not tolerate this kind of violence.
But there again, though, Frosty, it's the problem is being exacerbated and promoted because of an administration that absolutely will not call it what it is, an administration that absolutely is cowardice when it comes to saying what the real facts are, an administration that in many respects, I think, from the top down, is basically, to say these words, quote-unquote, in bed with the problem.
Well, in the Koran, you can lie. Any way you want to lie to get into the main functioning of any other country or any other ethnic group, the Koran allows you to lie. The fact that Barack Obama it has 8 Muslims in his inner circle right now, yet he pretends that he's not a Muslim. I mean, if an Aflac duck quacks, you know it's an Aflac duck. If the President of the United States right now has 8 Muslims as his aides, I'm sorry, this President Barack Obama, his middle name is Hussein. We should all get a clue. This man has a Muslim, either he's a Muslim, period, or his leanings are toward Islam so great that he is not going to, in the next 2 years and 2 months, is going to give himself away. But if the duck quacks, it's a duck.
You know, I want to shift gears. I've only got 3 minutes left, and I want to ask you something. You're a very sharp guy. You are an excellent author. You've traveled the world. And when you hear this kind of a statement, I want to get your response. Hillary Clinton was speaking last Friday and made this response in her speech, and she said, quote, that businesses do not create jobs. She was talking about the benefits of bigger government, and she said businesses do not create jobs, and I about fell out of my geezer chair.
Yeah, well, you can start falling out of your geezer chair even more. Again, what is going on is doublespeak. George Orwell talked about it. If you say a lie long enough, it becomes the truth.
Yes.
And that's what you're seeing. Honest to gosh, we're pretending that this Ebola, most Americans, when you read my piece, we're bringing in 50,000 Congo women into this country. This is the rape capital of the world, folks. And since this Ebola outbreak, we've brought in, this is no kidding, we've brought in 4,540 Congolese refugees into the United States so far here in 2014. And so whatever Hillary Clinton's saying, George Orwell already has, given her up. And when you see things that don't make sense, and when you hear stuff that doesn't make sense, it's because it doesn't make sense, folks.
There you go.
And just one before we get cut off here today. Again, if you want to stop all this, again, CAPSWEB.org is the organization that I work with and so proud to be a part of with Joanne, Weidman, and of course Numbers USA with Roy Beck. Folks, you got to join these organizations. Tell all your friends. Otherwise, this illegal immigration and all of these lies that are going on, and even the massive legal immigration that's coming into this country to create chaos in our civilization will continue. So I just want to make sure I'll let you all know where you can go to have something and do something and be a part of something and empower yourself to do something and make this country get back to what we need to be getting back to.
All right. Frosty, always time goes way too fast with you on the program. God bless you, my dear friend. Frosty Woolridge in Golden, Colorado. Get on your bike and enjoy it before you can't pedal in the snow, my friend. Have a good one.
Thank you. I did 50 miles on the weekend, so I'm still pedaling.
Okay. Thanks, Frosty. Take care. God bless.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Hey, by the way, Representative Clark Kaufman, a Filer area farmer and businessman, is running for re-election for state representative in District 25. Representative Kaufman's legislative committee experience includes the Revenue and Taxation Committee, Transportation and Defense Committee, and the Business Committee. He received a 100% voting score from the Idaho Water Users Association, and he thanks you for the privilege of serving as your representative the past 2 years, and ask for your vote in the November general election. And don't forget, also vote yes for HJR2, paid for by the committee to elect Clark Kaufman for Idaho State Representative, District 25, Seat B, Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. Oh my, we got to get right on with the program. And did you hear that? Did you hear everything that we just talked about? Well, you say, well, I think I did. Well, listen, if you're having trouble with your hearing, I really suggest you call 312-0957 and make an appointment today for a hearing screening at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Lovely lady, Christine Pickup. And believe me, don't let your hearing problems go. Call her today at 312-0957. 312-0957. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And by the way, too, I want to stress the fact, if you're hunting, you better check out those earplugs while you're up hunting. You'll be able to hear what's around you, but when the gun goes off, it helps protect your hearing. Those shooter plugs, absolutely the best. Once again, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Did you hear that? I hope so. Right now, we're going to ask Gina her help, and we have a commercial for Senator Jim Risch. If you would, please, Gina.
Mitt Romney on Jim Risch. Jim Risch is a person who you can count on to help build jobs,
to say no to the growth of government, to say no to the growth of taxes, to say yes to family values, and to stand up for the people of our nation and the state of Idaho. This is a man of integrity, honesty, and character.
Jim Risch is the person we can trust to fight for us in Washington. Jim Risch for the U.S. Senate.
I'm Jim Risch, and I approve this message.
Risch for U.S. Senate.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate what Jim has done. Thank you. And don't forget, to our friends at Let's Ride. Oh, my goodness, they've got the 2015 snowmobiles in stock. Stop in to Let's Ride Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley and check out all the great snow machines. And don't forget, now is the time to get all your watercrafts winterized. And, they've got all the accessories over there, too, for your snow machines, like I was starting to talk about a minute ago. And they've got all your ATV accessories, still plenty of time to get out and enjoy those for the rest of the year. And stop into the showroom today at Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. They're waiting to see you where the fun is sold. Let's get on the phone line real quick, and a lovely, lovely lady. I always look forward to having her on my program, and that's Carrie Kupek with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Good morning, Carrie. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm just busier than busy, trying to get everything done for our elections and everything. You know how that is. You've been in the radio business now for a long time. Carrie, I'm very concerned that right now our society is in a tailspin. Right is wrong and wrong is right, like the Bible had predicted. And we're seeing pastors being criticized because they won't perform gay weddings. We're seeing pastors hauled on the carpet by lesbian mayor in Houston saying that she doesn't like perhaps their preachings about Roman 1:27 or whatever it might be, and she wants to scrutinize their sermons. What kind of a society have we got going where religion and right and wrong are being thrown under the rug?
Certainly a very disturbing one. Like you said, pastors and their freedom to exercise their religion, their freedom just to speak, is certainly under attack. And it's interesting, though, I don't know if you saw this, but last week, the U.S. Civil Rights Commissioner actually issued a letter to the mayor of Houston and called what the mayor has been doing to these pastors an abuse of government power. And I'd love to read to you a couple of excerpts from this letter because it's pretty stunning.
Please do.
Since it's coming from the Civil Rights Commission itself.
All right.
So let's see. Here we go. Given that the recipients of these subpoenas are pastors, it is almost inevitable that their views on homosexuality and gender identity are informed by their faith, if not almost entirely rooted in their faith. Indeed, the views of many people on homosexuality and gender identity are rooted in their ultimate commitments. A person's religious views on civil rights, equal rights, homosexuality, and gender identity have nothing to do with whether there are enough valid signatures to place a referendum on the ballot. She goes on, and the commissioner goes on to say that what the mayor did was an abuse of government power and also a blatant attempt to punish these pastors for expressing their religiously based political views. And the commissioner then goes on to say that this is chilling future speech of pastors and quite clearly anyone who would disagree with the government. And the commissioner urges the mayor to withdraw the subpoenas. That's a pretty big deal coming from the United States government.
Absolutely. But, you know, there was a letter in our local newspaper, and it was in this morning's paper, as a matter of fact, Carrie. And the headline of this paper was, and I went on to read it, and it was an excellent letter written by a gentleman back in Illinois, sent it way out here to our local paper. The headline was, "A New Era Discriminates Against Heterosexuals." And the more you think about that headline and what he talks about in the letter about how men and women and normal marriage is under attack and everything that is wrong is supposed to be normal and right, and we've lost any sense of value or morality in our country. I'd like you to respond to that.
Right, and I think what's really scary is that no pastor or no citizen of this country should be punished simply for speaking out.
Absolutely.
For disagreeing with the powers that be. And we've gotten to a point where if citizen or a pastor refuses to, carry the message of the government or fall into lockstep with them, that they can be threatened and hauled into court, be publicly humiliated. With the situation in Idaho, your state, possibly thrown into jail or having to pay criminal fines. It's just what's happened here. It's so concerning.
Carrie, what about that case up in Coeur d'Alene with the husband and wife, Don and Lynn Knapp, and their business called the Hitchin Post Lakeside Chapel? I'll say this publicly right up front, that I will never adhere to accepting that lifestyle of gay marriage or the gay, lesbian, and transgender beliefs that's normal. I will never do that on this program. And I will pull the plug on this show before I will adhere to any edicts from them to try to get normalcy. I won't allow it on this show. But what about these pastors? Can they fight this and win, or are they going to lose?
I think there's a great chance for them fighting this and prevailing for sure. And again, it speaks to the larger issue that we're seeing in this country, is that no minister should be punished by the government for simply following and adhering to the teachings of their faith. And that's exactly what's going on here. Don and Lynn Knapp have been Christians for most of their lives. They've been married for 47 years. They're in their 60s. They run this business called the Hitching Post, but it has a religious purpose. It's a for-profit business, but it has with an inherently religious theme. And they marry people, and they love marrying people, and their ceremonies follow a traditional Christian nature, or they give the couple, and they always give the couple literature that's based in the Bible. Don or Lynn will pray over the couple. This is really their life's calling, their purpose, their ministry, and they charge a small fee in doing it. And what's interesting is that there's been a lot of misinformation in the last 5 or 6 days just perpetuated in the media, which is really unfortunate. And one of those is that the city of Coeur d'Alene has been saying kind of these odd statements about the Hitching Post being a not-for-profit institution, and therefore the ordinance doesn't apply, and they're not going to face jail or fines. Well, that's just not true. They're a for-profit corporation. They always have been. The city knows this. The city on 3 separate occasions made clear that the Hitching Post would be in violation of the law and subject to criminal prosecution and punishment if they declined to perform same-sex marriages. And that's 100% what's going on here, and yet there's been some misinformation and rumors in the media that's not the case. But we recently published a piece on our Alliance Defending Freedom website that sets the record straight and links to all of the legal documents and the interviews and the occasions where the city did say this, so that people can read for themselves what this is. And this is 2 ordained ministers being threatened by the government for simply adhering to the teachings of their faith.
Absolutely. Let me ask you something, Carrie. I'm not a lawyer, but I want to get right down to the basics. I mean, the simplistic values of this. If you hang a sign in your window, whether you're a restaurant or whatever, and you say no shirt, no shoes, no service, aren't you being as discriminatory as these pastors that say, no, I'm sorry, we do not abide by gay and lesbian weddings, so therefore we will not marry you, respectfully go find somebody else? Isn't that the same basics of discrimination?
Well, it really depends on which local law you're looking at, depending on the city or the county or the state, and they have different categories of what they've deemed as protected classes of people, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so it really is, it's case specific. However, the much bigger issue here, taking a step back, is the simple but huge freedoms of speech, freedom of religion that all Americans have. We don't surrender that at the door when we go to work on Mondays.
That's right.
Those stay with us. That's one of the beauties of being American, being in this country. The Knapps have been ordained ministers for many, many years of their lives. They've been marrying people at the Hitching Post for many years. The only thing that's changed was Idaho declaring same-sex marriage legal. Mm-hmm. And the Knapps suddenly find themselves in this potentially criminal situation for simply doing what they've always done, for living out their lives according to their faith, for obeying their commitment to God, and for honoring their ordination vows. So it's certainly a disturbing situation.
What really bothers me about this case and all these other cases, too, is that I don't have the right to say no. I mean, it'd be like the same thing of saying the LGBT group could come on this program and say, well, we demand airtime and you give us equal treatment. No, I'm not going to give them equal treatment. No, this is a program that I own and I've nurtured. I'm going to pick and choose the subjects I want. Well, it's no different than this family. They don't believe in the advocacy of gay marriage, and so they said, no, respectfully, go find somebody else. And I will back them to the hilt, and I hope they win.
Right, and the Knapps they're great people. I had the privilege of getting to spend some time with them up in Idaho earlier last week. They're just wonderful human beings who love marrying people, who really love all people, for sure, and they will be the first to tell you that. But they can't violate the teachings of Christianity, the teachings of the Bible, their ordination vows. And so for the government to expect or attempt to force them to do so is, quite honestly, in Don's words, unconscionable.
What about, and I want to go back to this Houston story just a little bit, with this lesbian mayor and the ministers all in a turmoil right now. I hope, and I said this on my program a couple of times last week, I hope that the clergy remain firm on this issue. I hope that ministers and clergy from all over the United States support these Houston pastors and absolutely say no, they will not stop preaching about Romans 127. They will not stop preaching the Word of God. They will not erase and rewrite the Word of God so that it suits various groups. I think that these pastors have got to get a backbone, and I will say this, Carrie, many of the young clergy are confused and they do not preach the Word of God because they're being intimidated. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with you, but fortunately, these 5 pastors in Houston are fantastic. The mayor picked the wrong people to pick on. They are not backing down. They are very strong in their faith and their convictions. In fact, I mentioned this on an interview I did recently. 2 of those 5 pastors, if you can believe it, they escaped regimes in Vietnam and Cuba. Escaped regimes where religious freedom and freedom of speech are not allowed. And they came here to this country looking for that, to be able to exercise those things. And so for this to be happening to them is particularly ironic and tragic. And then on top of it, these pastors are just... You know, they have done many interviews. They have made very clear that they're not going to give over by demand this information to the government. And they've said very adamantly they would be more than happy for the mayor to come to their church, to give them their sermons freely. They have no problem with that. But to bow to the government demanding these things, especially, and keep in mind, the city has taken the sermons aspect out of the subpoenas now, but they're still demanding 17 different types of communication. Right. And that's including private text messages between the parishioner and their pastor. So that could be me or you, emailing our pastor about something that we're thinking about with regards to these issues, or texting them. This, in theory, according to the subpoena, that would be hauled into court for the whole world to see. It's unprecedented, it's unconstitutional, and we'll see what happens in these next few weeks.
Well, I got to say this, and we'll wrap it up, Carrie, but God bless the Alliance Defending Freedom. God bless you and all you're doing. But this is the line in the sand. This is, I think, one of the most important times in our history to draw that line in the sand like at the Alamo and say, no, we're not going to step backward. We're going to defend that line in the sand. And if we don't, it could be all over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. And I don't know if you saw, but Governor Huckabee on his show, he actually suggested that all pastors in America send the mayor their sermons.
Absolutely.
And then suggested that just Americans send the mayor Bibles. I thought that was kind of funny. But his point is, this is America. These are freedoms that we love, that we cherish. The mayor has no business shutting down the speech of pastors.
Absolutely.
And he's right.
Absolutely. Carrie Kupek with Alliance Defending Freedom, and quickly tell my listeners how they can follow this and the multitude of other stories, please.
Sure. Sure. They can go to alliancedefendingfreedom.org, or if they want some in-depth information on our cases and take a look at the legal documents for themselves, they can go to adfmedia.org.
All right. Carrie, God bless you, and I mean that. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to next Monday.
All right. Thanks so much, Deb. You too.
Thank you very, very much. Lovely lady right there, Carrie Kupek with the Alliance Defending Freedom. And they are doing a great job. We really appreciate everything they do. Now, this is where it's going to be fun. Gina, I'm going to ask her at this time to play a quick word for Lawrence Denny, and then I'll come back and we will give the preview to the weather. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen.
Idaho's right to vote is critical. We need a steady hand to guarantee that right against pressures from the federal government. Lawrence Denny is that steady hand. His hand served our nation in Vietnam. His hand tilled the soil in rural Idaho and made crucial decisions as Speaker in the Idaho legislature. Lawrence Denny knows our values. He can carry on the tradition as Secretary of State. Protect your right to vote with experienced hands. Vote Denny for Idaho Secretary of State.
Hey, Denny for Idaho, Rick Howard, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth, as the lovely Gina is going to be coming on the air momentarily. Our weather this hour is brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. Please, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, available through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And now, I'm going to sit back in suspense. Here is... maybe Michael Rogers weather.
Good morning, everybody. Michael Rogers for Zeb of the Ranch. Not a bad day for today, but cooler temperatures. We're looking for sunny today, clear tonight, also for today and tomorrow. 51 for the high today. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit chilly. 37 for the overnight low, 61 for the high tomorrow. But otherwise, the yucky weather passed us through the weekend. You start off the first day of the work week. Some nice weather. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Thank you. Brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. How did you do that?
It was called transferring one from one computer to another computer to reload it and get to the main computer to get to the on-air computer.
Yeah, right. You lost me at the first push of the button. And I did get the hallelujah. That's worth 2 more hallelujahs right there. Hallelujah. I love it. Boy, I'll tell you what, I wasn't sure if you were going to do the weather, if Michael was going to do the weather, or if I was just going to say, looks pretty good outside.
Hey, partly cloudy and mostly sunny, and there's your weather, yeah.
We'll have our next guest. Did you get the information on our next guest?
Yes, I just need to call him early.
Okay, I will do these commercials, and then we'll get her on the air. Thank you very much. Hey, when you think about life insurance and health insurance and retirement planning and employee benefits, don't forget our friends, and they are your friends and my friends. They really help you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Dean Cameron, Todd Siemens, very dedicated and responsive to your needs. Please give them a call. The office number 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, yes, serving you. Oh, my goodness. As I said earlier, we've got a whole passel of commercials because of the political season, and we're blessed. And bear with us. It's only for about another week. Don't forget the big fall savings at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. My goodness, are they busy over there. They have got dinette sets. Now, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. And as a matter of fact, what is it? It's a month from today, is it not? And with Thanksgiving right around the corner, you want to be ready for all the people coming by to have all the turkey and the cranberry and the potatoes and everything. They've got dinette sets that are absolutely at the lowest prices. You better check it out today. And they've got all your carpet needs. And they've got where you can save money on mattresses and get a king-size mattress for the price of a queen. And a queen-size mattress for the price of a full. My goodness sakes, don't hesitate. Get on in there today to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more for the big fall savings at 459 Overland in Burley. Really nice people serving you. Absolutely. We're going to go to the phone lines right now, and we have with us Glenna from the Golden Heritage Senior Center. And good morning, Glenna. How are you?
Good morning. We're fine over here.
Well, good. Now, every week we have somebody on from the Senior Center, and they tell us what the menus look like for the rest of the week. What's cooking over there at the Golden Heritage Senior Center?
Today we're going to do brats with sauerkraut.
Ooh!
Choose fruit salad and a dessert with milk. Tomorrow's going to be roast potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, jello, and dessert. And on the 29th, we're going to have chicken stew, cornbread, veggie, dessert, and milk.
Okay.
And on the 31st, we're having hamburger steak, fried potatoes, veggie, jello, dessert, and milk.
Oh, my goodness, all kinds of goodies. Now, Glenna, now that I've got you on the air this morning, I want to talk to you a little bit because we're just a little bit less than a full month away from the Golden Heritage Senior Center having the first annual Pilgrim Pride Thanksgiving dinner, November 20th. Tell us a little bit about what's going to happen that night.
Oh, we're going to have wonderful food, games for all the kids and the adults. We're going to have dress up and give gifts for the best dressed. We're having raffles. We have a $100 bill in one of our 3 baskets with goodies galore. And then we have 3 other raffles, which is a tool set, a baby blanket, and a crystal glass set.
Now, all of this, Glenn, is going to start at 5 o'clock on the evening of the 20th, and it is going to be super fun. Like you said, we got a lot of door prizes and everything, and we urge people to come out and support the Golden Heritage Senior Center because the funding from this dinner is going to help the seniors, right?
Absolutely. Meals on Wheels is one of our main themes.
You know, tell us a little bit about that, Glenna, because a lot of people don't realize how important the Meals on Wheels is because there's a lot of shut-in seniors. That's the only contact they have with the outside world every day, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and they're dear people. They look forward to seeing us, and we look forward to checking up on them and serving them. They're the ones that are the founders of this Cassia County, and we're here to serve them because they can no longer fix their own meals, and they have to be taken to doctors, and they just need somebody to visit with them and love them and care for them.
Absolutely. Now, it's only $5 a ticket. Now, how do people go about getting tickets?
We're out canvassing the area, but you may get them right at the door.
Okay.
If we don't catch you on the streets, just join us at 5 o'clock at the Senior Center, and we have tickets galore.
All right, that's coming up on November 20th, a Thursday night, right there at the Golden Heritage Senior Center, the first annual Pilgrim's Pride Thanksgiving dinner. Glenna, you did a great job. I think I'll hire you to be my co-host.
Oh, I don't know about that. But come dressed and prepared to have a really good time with our entertainment.
All right. God bless you, Glenna, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
And he blesses you.
All right. Thank you. What a nice lady. And really nice people over at that Golden Heritage Senior Center for that great big. Now, put that on your calendar right now. Right now, run over to the calendar. Turn it to November. There, are you with me? Now, put a big red X on November 20th, and you and your family and your neighbors and your aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody come on over to the Golden Heritage Senior Center, 5 o'clock for a Thanksgiving dinner. Okay? Please help support the seniors. Oh, my goodness, we got to say this good word. Senator Lee Hyder for District 24. What a nice gentleman. The best always stand the test. Idaho Senator Lee Hyder is one of the best. His diligence and perseverance to always be right in the thick of things serving his constituents is absolutely appreciated, and he urges you to go vote November 4th for a man that's devoted to Idaho and you, and that's vote for Lee Hyder, Senator for District 24. And don't forget, this is paid for, our dear friend Lee Hyder for Senate District 24. Go to the polls and vote on November 4th. Gina, how you doing over there this morning? She's gone. I don't blame her. Hey, by the way, Thursday, I got to remind you about what's going on Thursday. This is really important. Lunch Bunch is going to be at Denny's Restaurant, this Thursday, and it's our Halloween party. Now, it's going to be our lunch bunch Halloween party at Denny's restaurant. There's going to be extra prizes given to the folks that come down wearing a mask and or costume. We're going to have 2 different categories and give away some special prizes to the best mask and the best costume. So, excuse me for choking to death, but we want everybody to be there at 11:30 at Denny's restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, for our Zeb's Lunch Bunch Halloween party this Thursday. Don't miss that. Gina, are you going to be there, and are you going to wear a costume?
I can wear my Wonder Woman costume.
Wonder Woman!
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll go.
Good. And we'll make sure that lunch is provided to you if you'll take the time away from the station.
You betcha.
Did you dress up quite a bit for Halloweens in the past?
Oh, yes. I do every year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite costume you've ever dressed up in?
The one I wore last year, I handmade it, and it's...
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is.
Yes, you've seen the Queen Peacock?
Yeah, the peacock costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was with my wife sitting in the room here with me, it was a very interesting costume.
Handmade by me, actually, and it started out as... when I was pregnant with Kennedy, I made it, and I was Queen Pregnant Peacock, but obviously we're 7 years later. And so last year I completely redid the costume, cut out a whole bunch of fabric and everything, and then made a large plumage for the back. And it's one that's been a labor of love, and I've invested a lot of time and money and effort into that one. So.
I finally came to the conclusion back when I was a teenager that it didn't make any difference what costume I dressed up in, because when you're on those crutches, what good does it do? They're going to say, "Hey, Zeb, how you doing?"
They already know who you are. This is true. My favorite one, of course, Wonder Woman. I love Wonder Woman, and so I've been her the past couple of years. Let's see here, Queen Peacock last year, and then in years prior, I've been Lady Death, and then I have
Lady Death?
Lady Death, yes.
What does Lady Death dress up as?
She had a long white wig, black dress, and it was a handmade costume by me as well.
Really?
Yeah, I like to make my own costume.
So you're going to dress up as Wonder Woman this year?
Yeah, I'll dress up as well, for you, I'll dress up as Wonder Woman. For the main Halloween costume contest that we've got coming up this Saturday, I'll be Queen Peacock again.
All right,
because I can't put all of this time, money, and effort into one costume just to only wear it once.
No, for heaven's sakes, you got to wear it all the way through the New Year's Eve.
Exactly, and I should too. But I think on Thursday I'll wear my Wonder Woman costume.
All right, there you go, folks. That's coming up this Thursday at Denny's at 11:30, and we got extra prizes for the best mask and the best costume. So come on, get everybody dress up. Okay, Gina, thanks much. You did a great job this hour. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Hey, before we send it back over to Gina, I want to remind you about the Chadwick Sports Grill. Oh, my goodness. Listen to this for the menu today. One of their specials, roasted chicken with tarragon sauce over acorn squash with super salad. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. At 139 West Main in Burley, the Chadwick Sports Grill. Great people, great menu, great specials. Roasted chicken with tarragon sauce over acorn squash with super salad today at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Don't you miss it. We'll be right back after ABC News. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch. A busy, busy Monday. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call Kelly and the crew, 734-6969. In just a second, Gina, right after this first spot, I'm going to have you, if you would, please give us the good word about Ron Crane. But first of all, don't forget the great big U.S. auction sale at Tougaw Ranches Estate this Wednesday, October 29th. Carl Van Tassel, Keith Couch with U.S. Auction. It is going to be a really big, good sale. Starting time 11 a.m., located at 4425 East, 2900 North of Murtaugh. Lunch by the Montana Steakhouse, and they're going to have tractors and construction equipment, trucks, semis, pickups, trailers, hay and grain equipment, all of this and more. Really good sale this Wednesday, October 29th, Tougaw Ranches Estate Auction with U.S. Auction Company. Gonna be a dandy. Here now, the good word from our friend, State Treasurer Ron Crane.
On Election Day, Idaho voters should choose a state treasurer with a 16-year record of success in helping improve the lives of Idahoans. Treasurer Ron Crane has nurtured and grown the tax-deductible Ideal College Savings Program, which thousands of Idaho families now use to continue their children's education. And nearly 25,000 Idaho women have gained saving and investing skills through Ron Crane's popular Smart Women, Smart Money training program. Vote Ron Crane for treasurer. Experienced investing, protecting Idaho's taxpayers.
Pate Crane for Idaho State Treasurer.
All right, thank you very much. And one more quick word about our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, helping you get back to being you. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and the rest of the crew, so knowledgeable, so helpful, all with the best in exercises, the best in sports medicine, great services available to help you, like I said a minute ago, helping you get back to feeling like yourself. All you have to do is call them at 678-1191 or stop in at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Stop in and feel better at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and I'm sorry to keep him waiting. A very dear friend of this program. He's been on our show many, many times, and that's attorney and Newsmax spokesman and writer James Herson. James, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, it's in the middle of election season, and I know no matter what radio program you're on, you're going to see a deluge of commercials. It's a busy time right now.
Well, it's good, though. It pays the bills. You know, this is what the sales department and all radio stations, television stations live for. So I guess it's a good thing.
Absolutely. James, I read the story that you had sent me regarding Hollywood plans a TV series to capitalize on the Ebola crisis. And I guess I can understand that there are films and miniseries that are made to discuss and show the human misery. But are we really prepared right now in this country, because we don't know how serious this threat is going to be? We don't know really how to handle it. Is it way too early to plan some kind of a TV miniseries on Ebola?
No, it really might be, because, look, you think of the fact that Hollywood has been forced to cancel the release or cancel the airing, whether it was a movie or a television show, of a film or television show that dealt with terrorism. This happened just, I mean, I can just think of the Boston bombing caused some projects to get shelved in Hollywood. And so it may be that Hollywood's timing is too early. I mean, this gets into, I almost hope that it's not, because the thought of what, Ebola can do, and what would cause them not to release this is a very scary thought. But yeah, as you said, Hollywood, they love to do this rip from the headlines stuff. They do it on these television shows that are the police procedural shows like CSI and Law and Order, and they do it in made-for-television movies, quite often even doing it, they had like a made-for-television movie on Casey Anthony, I believe, when the case had not been concluded, and other big-name, crime trial miniseries. They've had similar things. So this actually is a subject that Hollywood's been interested for a very long time. and what Ridley Scott, by the way, who was a huge name in Hollywood, director, filmmaker, not only known for these, sci-fi movies like Alien and Blade Runner, but also known for Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the director of another thing I wrote about, this upcoming remake of the Ten Commandments, Exodus, Gods and Kings. So, but he and his partner optioned this book a couple of decades ago, a book that was written in 1984 called The Hot Zone.
Mm-hmm.
And that certainly was about Ebola. And we've had a number of movies, the first one called Outbreak, and the second one just 3 years ago called Contagion. And the movies have been ensemble movies released during Oscar season because it's a very serious subject. And so Scott and his partner expected to do a movie. They were going to have Jodie Foster do a movie, but because of what's going on in the world, they fast-tracked it and turned it into a mini-series, which will be on the Fox television network. We don't, it's not, production's not done, but they do production quicker for a mini-series. And I think they're shooting for, next year.
Mm.
And so, I pray that the project's not eclipsed by an actual nightmare in this country. But as you said, if we judge by observation of the CDC, an observation of this guy who is still in office running the CDC, Tom Frieden, or we look at the fact that we have an Ebola czar that instead of being a doctor is a spin doctor, it does not give us confidence that federal government's ready. And then we just heard that when state governments try to put in reasonable measures, that the administration is pressuring them to back off.
Yeah.
And so, we don't feel a sense of confidence that the information that we're getting is legitimate, or that the policies are legitimate.
James, I'm in the process of writing a book right now, and I've also studied screenplays and things like that. And basically, and I'm going to give it in very layman's terminology, you're the expert. But when you create, like for a miniseries or a television show, the first thing you do in the first, like if it's an hour-long program, in the first 15 minutes you show a problem, create a potential problem. Then in the next part of the program, the problem gets worse, and then finally there's the exacerbation of the problem and a solving of the problem for the television show and or the book's end. How are they possibly going to show an ending to this problem when none of us know the ending to this problem?
Well, that's a very good question. And it's interesting. There is nothing more formulaic than particularly motion picture screenwriting. It's so formulaic that there are teachers who teach the subject of screenwriting. Professor Richard Walter over at UCLA, I've appeared on shows with him, and we've kind of talked about this, where they will say, there's a certain number of pages in a script, and the points that you describe will happen, at a certain page. And it's incredible to look at movies and see how brilliantly the best writers have done that structure. And but that's one of the reasons Ridley Scott and his partner picked the longer form of a miniseries, because they're not going to be able to come up with an ending. And the question is, it's not clear. Are they going to do a docudrama, which is sort of like Too Big to Fail on HBO, where it followed a historical event with the real people, or are they going to be doing a complete fictionalization like Contagion? And it's not clear what they're going to do. When it's a fictionalization, they can come up with an ending. But with what we're seeing, as we sit here, the World Health Organization has come up with estimates. They say that the number of Ebola cases by this January in the world will be 1.4 million. And we have tens of thousands at this point. That does beg the question of what the ending's going to be like. But it's a, if it were a docudrama, I mean, I hope that they actually tell what has happened here. They tell the saga so the American public, so it gets impressed on them that someone, a nurse who had direct contact with an Ebola victim from West Africa who died. So the nurse that has contact with this dead Ebola victim calls the CDC. The nurse has a fever and asks, should I get on an airplane? And the CDC looks at some chart and says, well, your fever's not really high enough by, a half a point or a point. Go ahead, get on the plane. I mean, to me, at that moment, that's a very dramatic moment. The problem then is not just the disease. The problem is the guy who's running the CDC, and that's when Tom Frieden should have been fired right then. But we've seen so many inconsistencies and bizarre statements that's why I said that the public's not confident, and then we see these estimates for the future, and we also see that there are countries like Nigeria, Senegal, African countries that are celebrating that they have beat Ebola, that they don't have Ebola, they're Ebola-free. Mm-hmm. And how did they do it? Well, in part with a travel ban, which our government refused to enforce, and with using real quarantines, which our government refuses to do. And so, we don't know what the ending is, and we just pray. It's not like one of these movies where, like 28 Days Later was a movie that has a virus that turns people into killers and it spreads all over the world. It's an apocalyptic movie. So we hope we're not looking at an apocalyptic scenario.
James, on behalf of everything you do and all your writings and all the other radio programs that you're on, etc., let's just talk about you and your philosophy on this. From the get-go, I feel that this country and the CDC have been completely amateuristic in their approach to this problem. I feel that the Obama administration not only dropped the ball, but they were in the wrong stadium or in the wrong uniform. I don't think that one single thing has been done correctly to assure the American public of any professionalism whatsoever. Is it too late to try to get this thing under control and start discerning what the American public should know or how they can handle this problem?
Well, when you saw, I think it felt like I was in a Hollywood movie or something when I see a headline and it says Ebola in New York City.
Yeah.
It's like this, my mind personally is screaming, this should not have happened. This didn't happen under anyone else's watch. So it is the responsibility. This is directly due to the administration's policies. I mean, I guess I'm stating it, diplomatically when I talk about that Nigeria and Senegal can be successful and we are not. Mm-hmm. But the fact is that, what we have on, particularly some voices that criticize both the media and pundits and talk radio hosts who say, well, you shouldn't be scaring people about Ebola, they say. And I have to tell you what, in my research, I read a scholarly article on how the Ebola virus works and where it came from, and that was the scariest thing I could have read. Mm-hmm. The more you learn about the Ebola virus, the scarier it is. And there is such a thing as healthy fear. We don't want to alarm the public. Oh, yes, we do. Because this thing is something to be afraid of. We teach our children to be afraid of cars and traffic and look both ways. Well, this is something, there's a healthy fear we should have, and it's not being reflected in our policies. And, well, is it too late? I mean, see, the problem is, and here, if the World Health Organization is correct, they project this 1.4 million cases of Ebola by January. We're talking about geometric growth, not necessarily in our United States, but in the world. But the more that the virus spreads, and the more that the quantity of victims gets greater, then there is a greater chance of mutation. Viruses mutate faster than any other life form. And there have been cases with animals, and this is where we get into the alarmist thing, but they tell us, oh, it cannot be airborne, it cannot be airborne. Well, there have been cases where animals have caught Ebola through the air, and that's because of mutations. There's also different strains of the virus. The first one that was found in the 1970s in what we now call the Congo was a much stronger strain than what we're dealing with right now in West Africa. This strain in West Africa is called the Marburg strain, and it's milder, believe it or not. The original strain of Ebola found in the Congo had a 90% death rate, and the victims were found without internal organs.
Oh, my.
Their internal organs had turned to liquid.
Oh.
It's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, that the virus is not like a cold virus or a flu virus, which is part of the reason they haven't been able to find a vaccine. This is a virus right out of the mind of a science fiction writer. It doesn't just enter the human body. It enters individual cells and takes them over. It injects its DNA into the cells that run our immune system and our circulatory system, and it takes over those cells. It's like a killing machine. And so that's why this experimental serum that's made in San Diego called ZMapp, which comes from the blood of mice, is the only thing other than the blood of people that have survived Ebola that they've been able to effectively use. There are vaccines that have been in development that they're trying to experiment with that would create, in essence, a serum in our own bloodstream with the proper antigens that we develop from the vaccine. But it's still dicey whether any of them will work, and they're using West Africa as a laboratory test because they're all trying to fast-track the vaccines. But if they don't get a vaccine, and if, for example, this is a nightmare scenario, we have our government who has left our southern border completely open, and tens of thousands of children have come in. We've already had an enterovirus harm the children of the United States in places that these children from Central America that have no vaccinations have gone to.
Mm-hmm.
And those countries do not have the healthcare infrastructure to fight Ebola, and they're like a tinderbox. So if Ebola were to break out in a Central American country, this would have a profound effect on the United States of America. God forbid, Mexico. We have a third world country adjacent to us that is a tinderbox for Ebola.
Absolutely.
That, fortunately for us, Mexico has a government that has more sense than we do when it comes to their borders. So much so that when that cruise ship that had a nurse that was suspected of having Ebola, one of the Dallas nurses that had treated, had worked on the victim's fluids, it was on a cruise ship, Mexico refused to allow the ship to dock. So the Central American country of Belize that similarly did that. So that really actually was good for America, because if Mexico got hit, it would spread rapidly, and then our southern border being open, we would have a nightmare.
God help us. James, I'm out of time. I wished I had longer because I've got more questions, but you're going to have to come back. The very best to you. Thank you very much for being on the program. Attorney and Newsmax writer James Herson, thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. Wow. That was a very interesting segment about how dangerous the Ebola virus really is. Every Thursday on this program, we have a segment called Cache County School Days, and I want to say thank you very much to A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley for all they do to help support that program. And as you well know, they've got everything for the children over there. They've got all the clothing. They've got all kinds of new baby and toddler outfits. They've got all the books and the games and the puzzles, and don't forget too, gift wrapping is free, and they've got layaways because Christmas is right around the corner. A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Also, our thanks go out to the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Life-saving colonoscopies. I can't stress enough how important they are. Please call them and ask questions about this at 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center on Highland Avenue and A Child's World on Overland Avenue in Burley, bringing you school days in Cache County. Real quick, we are going to have this word, if Gina's right there, and she's always ready for us and so helpful, on HJR2.
I'm sorry, who was that again?
I don't blame you. Let's just forget the whole day and go to the beach, shall we? Gina, I don't blame you for being wondering what it was. HJR2, if you would, please. I'm sorry.
Vote yes November 4th for HJR2, a constitutional amendment to keep the power of Idaho governance with the people. Vote yes on HJR2 to limit executive power over you and your business. Vote yes on HJR2 to keep your legislators working for your needs, not special interest groups. Vote yes on HJR2 to preserve the voice of we the people for the state of Idaho. Vote yes on HJR2. Paid for by Representative Fred Wood, House Speaker Scott Bedke, and Senator Dean Cameron. Vote yes on HJR2.
Gina, by the way, thank you for all your help on that commercial. You know, why don't we just take a bottle of adult beverages and we'll just go someplace?
I so wish we could.
Stand by. I'll give it to you in just a second. So,
okay.
Not the bottle, but I'll give you the break in just a moment. Don't forget, Representative Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House District 27, urging you to vote in the midterm election on November 4th. Scott is very concerned for Idaho and its growth and prosperity, and he also is concerned about the future of the United States. He urges you to use your patriotic duty and go vote on November 4th. And please vote yes for the constitutional amendment HJR2, paid for by Representative and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke of Oakley, District 27. We'll send it over to our main studios and be right back. Don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Thank you very much and welcome back. Don't forget, Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, all of this and much more through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And, of course, the telephone number to call, 678-0459. At Ramsey's, they sell warm winters and cool summers with Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Also, I want to remind you, too, about our dear friend, Senator from District 25, Jim Patrick, local farmer for over 40 years, and Jim has represented us and he supports us. Get out and vote on November 4th and let your voice be heard. Jim Patrick, Senator from District 25, has a deep understanding of water issues due to personal history on the Salmon Tract, and believe me, he knows about agriculture, he knows about education, and he knows how to serve you. Don't forget to vote November 4th for Jim Patrick, Senator from District 25, paid for by Jim Patrick, District 25 Senator. Let's go to the phone lines and right now say good morning to a gentleman with the Institute for Energy. What do you mean no?
I've tried twice, voicemail. I'll continue to try.
This is the second time that we've had trouble with this party.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's lunch hour and they just looked at their phone and said, I don't think so.
I don't know. I will continue to call back. I did leave them a message, and so I'll just continue to try.
Well, we'll also ask Deanne if she could call back there and get a hold of those folks and see if we can find them. In the meantime, give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. We will talk about anything for the next little bit. Deanne, could you try to get a hold of them real quick with Dan Kish? Okay, thank you. And give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I would definitely appreciate it. Gina, do you have anything? Your weather wouldn't play, and now I haven't got a thing for this half hour. You want to just sit here and just talk about Halloween's gone by? What do you want to do? I haven't got a doggone
we can
thing.
Do that. We do have a lot of things coming up in the community. Of course, big voting day coming up on November 4th. I hope that everybody does get out there and vote.
I don't understand why they wouldn't. I heard some people over the weekend saying, well, I don't know if we're going to go vote. Why in the world would you say anything? And I'm going to be very blunt, frivolously stupid, as saying, I don't know if we're going to go vote or not. It's important. It's imperative. It's absolutely necessary.
Just because this is like the midterm elections does not mean that these are any less important than the general election.
I think actually this election is probably more important because there's so many issues that, quite frankly, left unchecked with the Obama administration are going to get devastating.
Yeah. So, really, do not let your voice go unheard, because if you do not get out there and and vote, then basically you're nullifying anything that you have to say. And so if you don't get out there and vote, I'm not going to respect you for what you have to say because you didn't get out there and actually, do what the right is that we have.
Let me ask you this while Deanne's checking on Dan Kish and the status. This morning I was listening to the television and watching some of the news stories prior to going on the air. And this Ebola virus problem that we were talking about with James Herson just a little bit ago, as a mother of a young son, how concerned are you with the possible contact of this very contagious disease? And I think the United States has absolutely dropped the ball. I think they've let politics get involved. I think that governors now like Chris Christie and even Cuomo, a Democrat from New York, they're getting very, very concerned that they may have to take matters into their own hand for their own state because the Obama administration is not doing anything.
Well, this is what I have to say. Kudos to the governors and the mayors who are actually being proactive and saying, you know what, no, if the federal government isn't going to do anything, then we have to protect our citizens and our constituents. So I give them two thumbs up for that. As a mother of a young son, and, of course, I have family all over the state and all over the United States, for that matter, just as you do. We do not want to see our family members get sick. And so if they have to take actions to make sure that those who are coming back into the country, whether they're healthcare workers or not, they have to be quarantined for just a little bit to make sure that they are not contagious and they're not going to spread the disease, so be it. However, there's a caveat to this. When these healthcare workers and people are coming back into our country, we can't treat them just as like detainees. We have to give them a comfortable environment to where they have all of the needs met, i.e., food, bedding, clothing, showers, this and that, so they can keep themselves clean. But, we do need to stop this, and it needs to stop at our borders. And so kudos, and I say big hallelujah to those guys who are actually being proactive. I think that our government should be doing more, and they're not. So that is falling upon the state governments. And so if that's what we have to do here, then fine. So be it.
You bring up a couple of really valid points, but number one that needs to be addressed, and you mentioned it at the almost at the end of your litany there of different things that need to be addressed. I fail to understand why we, the American public, have not slammed our fists down on the table or slammed our shoes down on the table in dismay and disgust against politicians that won't go to the president and demand that our borders be shut off from all the illegal aliens and, quite frankly, sick people coming across our borders illegally.
I think that there are constituents, those who are truly proactive. They are, but not enough people are doing so. And
I agree.
So the politicians are just like, well, you're one of many, and so, well, you know, you voted for me, but that's okay because I have to concern myself with the LBGT, you know, all of these other groups over here that are screaming louder than you are.
I just think that this Ebola virus, and I heard some people like Bob Beckel, you know, Democratic strategist, and I've heard some others like Alan Combs, used to be a partner with Sean Hannity. They have said some stupid and frivolous things. And Bob Beckel being, I think, the most stupid and the most frivolous, about 2 weeks ago saying that the Ebola virus was way overblown, there's nothing to worry about, it's a lot worse getting the flu. This Ebola virus, as you just heard James Herson say, it can absolutely burn up a person from the inside out.
Yeah.
And the devastation that happens with Ebola and how serious it can be if there's any contact with the bodily fluids, whatever. And we have been very naive through the CDC, in my opinion, and they're absolute. I think they should be held accountable for each and every sickness that takes place in the United States. Do we have a number for him now? Okay, we've got a cell phone number for Dan Kish. Do you want to try that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The number.
But go ahead with your point first, and then I'll give you the number.
Okay. Okay. So my point is, you know, we really do need to stop this. The CDC really do needs to be a little bit more proactive. Now, I do understand that they're concerned, saying, well, we don't want to blow this up to the point where we don't want to have health workers going there to help, get rid of this virus. With that said, though, the CDC needs to be a little bit more proactive, and a little bit more honest and open with the American public because, gosh darn it, we're the ones that are paying the bills. We're the ones that are making sure that their paychecks are met. We're the ones that are making sure that, we're yelling about, hey, our borders need to be closed.
That's
we
right.
are concerned for our own citizenry. And I'm sorry about what's going on in Africa right now. And my heart breaks for those people because they massive death. And so my heart breaks.
But it has to be contained.
It has to be contained. And so why are they just letting people come unchecked across our borders?
I agree.
And not quarantine them, especially if it is known that they've been into an infected area.
There you go. It just makes no sense to me, and I think that that Dr. Frieden and the rest of those people were nothing more than shills and pawns.
Right.
Hey, I've got a number.
Okay, so we've got Fred Preston calling in. Do you want to take that phone call?
Yeah, let me give you the number first. 202. Need a pen, huh? Okay. 202-360-2480. And I'll talk to my dear friend Fred. Good morning, Fred. You're on the air. What can I do for you?
Yeah. What's wrong with our representative back there in D.C.? They ought to be chomping at the bit and biting that president in the back.
You know, Fred, you bring up a really, really good point, and I don't care if we lived in Arizona, I don't care if we lived in New Hampshire, I don't care if we lived in Florida. There is no outrage. There is no grouping of senators or congressmen standing there waving their fists at the White House saying, we need to do this, we need to cut down on this, we need to make sure we stop this for the health and safety of America, and that's not being done because, quite frankly, I think congressmen and senators are too cowardly.
Well, all they're back there for is to draw that wage. I guess I can't understand them. They aren't looking out for the United States of America.
Well,
for damn sure.
I totally agree with you that there is not a caring and concern for the United States citizenry and our value system. And until I hear a group of senators get together on the news and say we are demanding and slam their fists down on the table, we are demanding that Obama do this and that, I think the problem's only going to get worse.
That's right. Boy, these borders should have been closed a long time ago.
No, I totally agree, and you and I have talked about this many, many times. Fred, it's good to hear from you, and I can hear the fire in your voice. I love it. Thank you.
Well, I love yours, too.
Okay. God bless you, man. Take care. Thank you.
You bet.
I wish we all had the fire. I really do. I wished we all had the fire of Fred Preston. There's a man that he's true to his convictions, and he'll stand up for what he believes in, and I appreciate that.
Unfortunately, Dan Kish was in a luncheon meeting, and so he profusely apologizes, and he said that his office is just going to have to get their scheduling conflict figured out. He's like, it's nothing on your end, it's his office, and so he will get that addressed.
Well, I think the problem's easily settled if they will just send you and I complimentary tickets to, I don't know, a nice restaurant someplace that's a chain around the United States. We'll be glad and accept their apology.
Heck yes. Okay, we'll send Deanne, send an email.
Okay. Listen, now we're going to do something that could be a little bit dangerous.
Okay.
Okay. We are going to have a weather forecast.
I got it.
And,
I got that ready.
And I'm a little worried, but I'm going to quickly tell everybody. It's brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats at 331 North Road in Jerome, 324-7657. Deanne just talked to Don Scarrow earlier this morning, and believe me, they are your locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years, and they guarantee everything they sell, and they sell taste one bite at a time. Now, this is where I say, and now here's Michael Rogers with the weather.
Good morning, everybody. Michael Rogers for Zip of the Ranch. Not a bad day for today, but cooler temperatures. We're looking for sunny today, clear tonight, also for today and tomorrow. 51 for the high today. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit chilly. 37 for the overnight low, 61 for the high tomorrow. But otherwise, the yucky weather passed us through the weekend. You start off the first day of the work week. Some nice weather. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
I'll be darned. Thank you very much, Michael Rogers Weather, and it's brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don't forget, marinated tri-tips for any occasion, and believe me, they are your best butcher shop for all the prized wild game that you've gone out and hunted and want to put in your food locker. So don't forget Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, selling taste one bite at a time. Gina, if we could we have this word for Secretary of State Lawrence Denny?
Hold on, I'm trying.
I love this. That computer, it doesn't know how much danger it's in.
It doesn't. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Our right to vote is critical. We need a steady hand to guarantee that right against pressures from the federal government. Lawrence Denny is that steady hand. His hand served our nation in Vietnam. His hand tilled the soil in rural Idaho and made crucial decisions as Speaker in the Idaho legislature. Lawrence Denny knows our values. He can carry on the tradition as Secretary of State. Protect your right to vote with experienced hands. Vote Denny for Idaho Secretary of State.
Hey, Denny for Idaho, Rick Howard, Treasurer.
If I were that computer, I would sit off in a dark corner someplace for the rest of the day, and I would mull. M-U-L-L. I would mull the opportunities to try to do good things and be nice to Gina, because I've seen her work with an axe and a hammer, and one does not want to tempt her. So to that computer, behave yourself.
And you know what? Honestly, this used to be my favorite computer.
Oh, really?
It used to work flawlessly, and now it's just not. And so
Well, did it get jealous when you brought in another computer?
I think maybe so, and other people have been playing on it, so I'm going to have to lock everybody out of it.
Oh, I see. So we have a call coming in, and people are wondering, we're really digging into the depths of not having anything to say when we start talking about one computer being jealous of another computer.
But you've got Al on the phone, so he's here to save our bacon.
That will be the day.
I know.
Al, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Gina, what's the sign up there in Idaho when some timberman hollers what?
Timber!
Get the Louisville Slugger out and whack that computer.
You got it.
You got it. Have a good one.
Thanks, Al. That was inspirational.
Bye.
Oh, my. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Hey, we were talking earlier this morning. Did it happen again this weekend where the University of Idaho, did they win their football game?
Actually, the University of Idaho had a bye week this week. So
they didn't lose. They didn't lose.
They did not lose, but they didn't win either.
Well, that'll make you happy.
Well, hey, as long as we negate the L's in the L column, I'm happy.
Well, Boise State, they won. They beat BYU. Remember that? Friday night.
They won. They trounced them. They just walked all over them. BYU didn't even show up.
In fairness to BYU, they lost a lot of key players, including one of their best players, Taysom Hill, the quarterback, that was possibly going to be up for a bid for the Heisman Trophy. So without him, they weren't nearly as good. Did Idaho State win?
That's what I am looking up right now. And actually,
I think they did.
They didn't even update this one.
Oh, my.
I'm looking online because it said like a November or September 8th, and I'm like, I know that they've played since then.
Well, I'm living in mourning today because last night the New Orleans Saints in Sunday Night Football, they didn't just beat the Green Bay Packers. They dismantled the Green Bay Packers.
That bad?
Oh, you look up the word ugly in the dictionary over there at the radio station, and you'll see a picture of the Green Bay Packers.
I heard that they were having a difficult time
ugly.
online.
Ugly. And then to make matters worse, and I know we've got a call, but the Kansas City Royals now are down 3-2 to the San Francisco Giants. There's trouble in River City.
However, my team did win.
Who's your team?
Seattle Seahawks.
I know, but they were getting their butts kicked. I thought sure they were going to lose.
It was not a pretty game, but hey, it's still a W. It's still a W.
They say that they got a lot of problems over there.
Yeah, you know what? It's not quite the team that has been in the past. Like last year, wow, Seattle could not be beat. This year, they have lost to some teams where my brother and I are looking at each other saying, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, but did you hear about some of the allegations that are going on? And do we have a call?
Yes, you do.
I'll tell you what, I'll take that call and then I'll come back and tell you about this. It's really serious against Russell Wilson, okay?
Okay.
We'll get right back. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Zeb.
Hello there.
I'm calling you because to see if anybody else out there got any of these calls. I just got a call from a fellow back in the Bronx, New York, with a slight accent, and he asked, is this the ISIS people? And I said, no, I hung up. And then I called the FBI, and they were quite interested in it. I was just wondering if anybody in the area received any calls. And the last name on my caller ID was Joyner.
Oh, my goodness. You're getting a call, and was it a male or female on the line?
It was a male.
Male said...
He had a slight accent.
And he was calling from, and the area code was New York, right?
Right.
And they said what?
And they just asked, he just says, is this the ISIS people?
Oh, my.
And I said, no, it's not, and hung up. And then afterwards I thought about it, and I called the FBI. I thought maybe they might be interested, which they were. And then they had me call Federal Trade Commission.
Uh-huh. You know, there has been some weird things happening on our phone line, and I'm not saying this just to create some interest, but last week on Friday we had some calls come in from a area code that also was from back on the East Coast. And the minute I answered the phone, they hung up. And when I went to call back the number that showed up on my screen, it went right to a voicemail and didn't say anything. And I've heard other people say that they've had calls like yours. So yours is not the first. And it's a little bit intimidating to think that something like this would be said to you.
Well, here's the other part of it. When I got on my cell phone and tried to call the FBI to Boise, it went right through.
Oh, really?
And then I thought, well, Boise really, I've had instances where they, kind of dropped the ball. So I called New York FBI, and my phone went to a list of phone numbers that I had on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept trying, and I could not get my cell phone to work. And then I tried to, I have a voice, you know, I can push a button and talk to my phone and tell it to call. And I pushed that, and that wouldn't even work.
Well, that's not very encouraging to think that in an emergency you might want to call the FBI and you can't get through.
Well, I called another FBI number, and all I got was a squealing in the phone.
Oh, my
So
goodness
then I
sake.
laid it down. I called on the landline. My cell phone is through Michigan.
I see.
So it's not even related anyway to Idaho. But anyhow, I called on my landline, and it went right through. So that kind of shook me, because I've never had that happen with my cell phone.
Well, you know, stay on that, Dwayne, and let us know what transpires, because it's interesting. In the last couple of days, not only on my home line, but also, which I never give out on the air and won't give out, but also on my cell phone, there's been some calls that I do not recognize from area codes that I do not recognize. I got to do a commercial, Dwayne, but keep me posted on that. I'd really appreciate it.
One
Thank you.
last thing.
Yes, sir.
One last thing, Jeb. Are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
They said if you get anything like that, unrecognizable, to let your answering machine answer it so that they have record of any voice or anything like that.
Right. Good thinking. Good thinking. Dwayne, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Don't forget big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and I mean a big tire sale. Tires like the TerraMax HT, the Eclipse for your cars, the Ultra Z900 passenger car tire, or the Open Country AT2 for your pickups and SUVs. Oh my goodness, they've got all the tires on sale with all the different tread designs for you. And the best in brake value service, too. My goodness, professionally trained technicians, free brake inspections and estimates. They are the best. Front-end alignment, shocks and struts, along with the best in batteries. Oh, by the way, the weather's going to get cooler. You better make sure that battery's going to do the job for you. Stop in at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Let's take a look at what we're going to have on the program tomorrow, and I urge you, excuse me, a little bit of still the hay fever with the dust in the air. I urge you to please tune in tomorrow, a program you don't want to miss. We're going to have a lot of good national people on, including, again, former CIA operative that knows all about terrorism and what's going on around this world, and especially right here in our country. And that's Brian Fairchild. He's going to be on. We're going to have Dr. History on. We're going to be talking to George Mass. All of this and much, much more tomorrow on the program, starting at 8:06, so don't miss that, and going to 11. And there was one other thing I wanted to remind you of. This Thursday, I want to remind you, the day before Halloween, Zeb's Lunch Bunch is going to have a Halloween party at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. And we're asking those to please wear a mask. In Al's case, you're fine just the way you are. I couldn't resist that. And a best mask and a best costume, as my cell phone's going off in my ear. And we're going to have special prizes for that. So don't forget, Halloween party this Thursday, the 30th at 11:30 at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. So now that I've got Al all mad at me, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody tune in tomorrow morning at 8:06. The way things were, the way things ought to be. Zeb at the Ranch. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow morning.